Good day, teachers. My name is Hazel Ann Butcher, and these are my 5 tips for a stress-free transition into online teaching. If you're feeling overwhelmed, tired, and stressed out by the move to virtual teaching, you're not alone. These are unprecedented times, and as educators, we're asked to jump into online teaching without the training and the tools that we rightfully should have. Maybe you're thinking that virtual teaching is only for techie teachers, and there's no way you could ever catch up. I know that many of our colleagues are feeling they are struggling to carve out a healthy balance between their work life and their personal lives, and sometimes it may even seem like you're sacrificing your family for your job. We face so many challenges. However, it's also an awesome opportunity to make learning come alive for our students in new and exciting ways. My hope is by the end of this short video, I would have given you a few practical tips to take the stress out of teaching online. Now, full disclosure before I move on, I'm not an IT teacher or an EdTech expert by any means. I'm just a regular teacher. But I've been teaching and learning online for quite some time now, and these are just a few things that I learned along the way. So let's jump right in. Tip number 1. Online teaching is not the same as teaching in school. You can't just convert your regular syllabus into the online world. It's a totally different ballgame. So you just be frustrating and burning out yourself, your students, and their parents by trying to fit the same content and methods into the online environment. For example, that lesson that would have taken you one session to complete in school would actually take at least 2 sessions online. And there are very good reasons for this, which I won't go into right now. But the bottom line is cut your expectations in half and then trim them some more again. So give yourself some grace. Tip number 2. Remember those courses in university about student-centered teaching and learning that we all did? Now, online teaching is made for that. The best practice for the online environment dictates a student-led, inquiry-based, constructivist approach. In other words, quit thinking about how you can provide content for your students. Instead, start thinking about how you can guide your students to create and discover the deep learning that they need to. My go-to method for this type of student-centered lesson planning is the 5 E's lesson plan. I also love incorporating universal design for learning guidelines because it gives students the freedom to express their learning in various ways. Now, if you want to find out more about the 5 E's lesson plan and UDL, there are lots of YouTube videos that can guide you. Tip number 3, keep it simple. When you're starting out, stick to just a few EdTech tools. Now, there are lots of programs out there, and they all market themselves as the best thing since sliced bread. And many of them are great, but at this point, it's best to stick with a few simple tools that you know how to use well and that your students will find easy to use. Now, for me, I love Google Slides. As you can see, I'm using them now. So my tool of choice is Google Slides. I also like to use Google Docs, Padlet, and maybe Flipgrid and Nearpod. But 95% of the time, it's just Zoom and Google Slides. Tip number 4, collaborate. Now, you should be fostering collaboration among your students. Let them share their thoughts and ideas with each other. Let them evaluate each other. And you should also be collaborating with your peers. Now, there's no point in 2 or 3 teachers creating the same lessons, so you should be sharing resources so it would ease everyone up. And my last tip is breathe. Don't sacrifice your family for this job. As much as possible, set specific working hours and stick to them. Your family deserves the best of you, not a stressed out shell. Now, so those are my 5 tips for taking the stress out of online teaching. If you find them helpful, please let me know. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Again, I'm no EdTech expert, just a regular teacher, but I'm happy to help in any way I can.